Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3384. Today's date is 8th of April 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10 p.m. All right. Okay, so we directly jump into the question. All right. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Yeah. Question is, am I targeting the right audience or do I need to refine my niche? Okay. Yeah, that is really good question. Oh yeah. Okay, so basically, this is question is actually based on business as also the content creation. Okay, yeah. And let me give you the kind of like a particular answer regarding about both the situation. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the content creation. Okay, first of all, let's talk about me. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I am a content creator. I kind of like a maker, kind of like a something, yeah, Photoshop, photography, graphic designing content. Okay, yeah. uh all right, I'm making this kind of like a assembly content right now. I have almost like a 1400 something subscriber. Sorry about that disturbance. I'm just kind of like a something like I wanted to talk, but it's little bit disturbance over here. Probably if I'm a little bit away, that might be kind of like a little bit good. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key um uh, I am a content creator. Photoshop, photography, graphic designing is my content. All right, yeah. Right now I have 1400 something subscriber, and in the future I will gonna gain subscriber. All right, yeah. So what is exactly my target audience? What is exactly the target audience? Okay, you have to figure it out. A target audience means like that ki what is exactly your content, and that content is for what kind of people. Okay, yeah. So that is called kind of like a simply target audience. Example, uh, like a cartoon. Yeah, like can you guess what is exactly the target audience for the cartoon? Like who are those people who could watch the cartoon? Probably kids, right? Yeah. So kids are the target audience for the cartoon. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna say kind of like a scientific research or kind of like a something that key a documentary or things like that, who would watch those people? The people who are kind of like a something enthusiastic regarding about science or technical things, they're gonna watch those kind of like a something documentary thing. Okay, yeah. Regarding about the finance, okay, those people who could interested in finance, they would watch that thing. Okay, yeah. Filmmaking, cooking, like there are so many particular stuff. Okay, yeah. Each person comes with a different rate of interest. Sorry, rate of interest comes with a different interest. Okay, yeah. Like basically my interest is that key filmmaking, political, geopolitics, science, and music. Okay, yeah. These are kind of like a stuff that I used to consume that kind of like a family content. Okay, yeah. I am not the person who could consume the content of cartoon or cooking or any kind of like a something like that ki funny memes and stuff like that. I don't know. I am not really fan of those things. I am kind of like associated with. I have kind of like a particular interest, and I can kind of like a simply consume such a kind of like a something content. Okay, yeah. So I am kind of like every person comes with a different interest. Okay, yeah. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key how if I am a content creator and if I'm kind of like a create a particular content, I should supposed to be more focused on my content. Who is gonna watching? Who are those people gonna watch those particular content? Okay, yeah. So how does it kind of like simply work? What is exactly my target audience? Okay, yeah. What is exactly first of all, what is exactly my content? Like first of all, let's just judge my content. Okay, yeah. As I mentioned, I am kind of like a graphic designing something like that. Okay, yeah. But I'm not posting a kind of like a tutorial that you have to do this, do that. No. My yes, I am a graphic designer, but first of all is that I create a particular graphics which is associate that it could tell some sort of message in the end. Okay, yeah, kind of like a something motivational, kind of like a something that inspiring, something like that. Okay, yeah. How do I do that? First of all, I took the photo of myself regarding about doing particular action. Okay, yeah. Now I put that photo on Photoshop, kind of like a remove the background, change the color, change the everything. And I'm kind of like a telling the entire process what I'm going through those things, and the final edit is kind of like a something giving some sort of message. Okay, yeah. So this is my kind of like a something the content. Okay, yeah. If people wanted to watch my content, it's not necessary that they should supposed to be know the Photoshop and graphic designing. No, because it's a kind of like a only content. I use a Photoshop to create these graphics, but entire thing is that na ki kind of like a telling a particular message at the end of through this graphic. It's a kind of like a only very hard to explain in this kind of like audio artifact episode. But if you wanted to know, just go to my Instagram or YouTube channel. You would probably realize what exactly I'm talking about that. Okay, yeah. And also is this thing I am focusing on vertical video, not long form of video. Okay, yeah. Because I think that na ki like right now I will gonna upload a long form of video, but at this moment I have little less subscriber. Focus on gaining subscriber, and subscriber will gonna gain at the short form of video like a vertical video. So that's why I'm kind of like a posting a vertical video every single day. Okay, yeah. Now this is my kind of like a assembly content. Now what is actually my target audience? Okay, yeah. First of all is that ki I kind of like a categorize my audience according to the age. All right, yeah. So basically this is kind of like a assembly content which like people who are at the age of 24, sorry, yeah, 20 to 24, yeah, 24, yeah, 25 to 35 kind of like some people who could watch my content. Okay, yeah. Then maybe 40 to 45, like basically I'm kind of like telling my sorry, YouTube analytics. Okay, yeah, like YouTube analytics are actually telling me that ki 25 to 35 kind of like some people who are watching a most almost like a 70% of consumption are actually consumed by these people. Okay, yeah. And then 45 to 55 are little like a second rank, and then after the 55 it was like a third rank. Kids, they don't really watch. Okay, yeah. Like they have like a very less, like almost like a only 1 or 2% of the entire consumption. And as also my content is not for the kids too. Okay, they don't really understand things like that. And probably is this thing na ki my content does really require some sort of like a little bit social intelligence. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like basically I'm not kind of like a somebody show off my content, no, but it's a kind of like a somebody that ki yeah, like if you wanted to look my content, it does really require to kind of like require some sort of intelligence or social intelligence or kind of like a personal intelligence to understand what is actually the meaning of that particular graphics. Okay, yeah. And that social intelligence is actually came after the age of 25 or something like that. Okay, yeah. After the 30 it will kind of like a went even more higher, because basically this thing my graphics is actually kind of like a telling the story regarding about the small sort of thing like a taxation or kind of like a GST or kind of like a something like the corruption or kind of like a something inequality of gender. So these are all those things. Okay, I have kind of like a multiples kind of like a something. I'm kind of like a something telling particular creating particular art piece through the graphic designing, and kind of like a try to telling the making process in vertical form of video and showing it to the platform. Okay, yeah. So this is my kind of like assembly content. Now what is actually my target audience? Target audience, as I mentioned, is 25 to 35. These are kind of like assembly my target audience. Okay, yeah. And what is actually the niche? Like what is actually kind of like assembly? Who are such people who could watch that thing? Does they require any kind of like a some sort of interest? Well, as I mentioned earlier, my content is not that kind of like a something such a thing that does really require a particular interest. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it is a Photoshop, it is a graphic designing. Yeah, people who are associated with that thing, they will definitely gonna understand. They will, yeah. But what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, my content is also easy to understand too, but it does really require a kind of like a little bit of intelligence. Somewhat. Okay, yeah. And it is like it's not really that hard, but it's not really that easy too. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, my content is actually based on age probably. Okay, yeah. It's not kind of like a something interest based. Okay, like basically it's not that kind of like a something very crazy that I don't really understand. No, it's not that. Okay, yeah. So this is my kind of like a something target audience. Okay, yeah. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this thing ki how do I supposed to improve that target audience, or how do I supposed to kind of like simply make my content regarding about those kind of like some people. How would I supposed to do that? I am doing it that like I'm kind of like simply making a graphics regarding about particular topic which is kind of like a trending, like a taxation, iPhone. Like basically I make a kind of like some graphics regarding about the iPhone, where iPhone is very expensive, and it is kind of like a killing the people who are actually owning the iPhone because the interest rate and things like that. So I kind of like a make a graphics regarding about I took the photo when I'm kind of like holding some sort of thing in my neck. Okay, yeah. Then I put in the credit card. I put myself on credit card. Credit card is kind of like something hanging other side, and it kind of like a phone. But because of that, I am kind of like a hanging myself because of the credit card debts. So this is kind of like a simply message that I created this particular image, this graphics. Okay, yeah. So it is not that kind of like a something very hard. Okay, yeah. If you're gonna see that thing, like if you went to on my YouTube channel, you will probably knew it. Okay, yeah. If you wanted to know, uh, my name is Saurabh Bothare, and you just have to search Saurabh Bothare on YouTube platform. You will kind of like simply find out that. All right, yeah. So this is exactly my target audience, and this is kind of like a simply my content. All right, yeah. Now how do I supposed to improve my target audience? How do I supposed to kind of like a simply um, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that YouTube is kind of like simply helping me for that thing. Okay, yeah. How? Okay, yeah. YouTube has a ton of data regarding about kind of like a simply which kind of like a simply a video does people like it or not. Okay, yeah. They have kind of like a simply analytics and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So probably what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that I should supposed to be kind of like a make a particular topic regarding about the trending, like regarding about what exactly happened, and I should supposed to make that particular content. Okay, yeah. But what like regarding about the experience that I get, like I did make, but experience that I get is that even if I'm kind of like simply making that particular video and stuff like that, it didn't really work that well out. Why? Because right now I have like a little less subscriber on the YouTube platform. I have Instagram which get almost like a 11,000 follower. So because of that, I'm getting little bit of views on Instagram too, but I'm not really believing in Instagram that much. I'm focusing on YouTubers. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that YouTube is something that it figure it out. It find out that which kind of like some people are associated with this thing, and which kind of like some people are kind of like wanted to know more that thing. Okay, yeah. So how do I supposed to improve the target audience and my content as good as possible as I can. But right now I don't really have any kind of like a particular activities or action that how do I supposed to improve my target audience, or how do I supposed to kind of like simply make a content regarding about the target audience. I don't know. Like basically, YouTube is a kind of like a simply very long game. Okay. Important thing is that you have to be consistent, and that is what I'm trying to do. Okay, yeah. And this is what I do. Okay, being consistent and being kind of like only part of this content and try to do that thing. All right. Okay. So this is my kind of like a something like the target audience regarding about the content creation. Okay, yeah. Now I also wanted to do a business stuff too. Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about the business. Okay, yeah. So what is actually my business, and let's just talk about that first. Okay, yeah. So okay, so like basically I talk with this thing multiple times, but yeah, let's just talk about that stuff. All right, yeah. So my business, what is actually my business? Okay, yeah. So easily I understand. Like people could write the diary at every single day regarding about journaling and things like that. Okay, yeah. I'm just kind of like a change the system. Instead of writing, I'm kind of like a recording this stuff, like regarding about what is actually happened and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. I am doing this thing since 2015. and it's been almost like a decade of experience that I have. Okay, yeah. Because of this artifact self-talk kind of like a thing, I realize myself what I'm really good at. I realize kind of like a, simply my decision making process. I improve a lot of things. My communication skills, the English that I'm speaking right now is also because of the artifact episode. Okay, yeah. And basically it is a lot of things. It's a kind of like a things that na when you talk with yourself na, it you understand yourself even more and you know yourself even more. Like basically is this thing na, in our entire life we just know so many people in our life, but there is a one very important person in your life that you don't really met, you don't really talk, and that is person is you. Okay, yeah. And as also we don't really have any kind of like somebody force you to communicate with yourself. And when I try to talk and when I kind of like a talk, when I record the artifact, it felt really amazing. It felt so good and so something. Okay, yeah. Now, so what is exactly my business? Okay, yeah. So this is exactly stuff that I'm doing since 2015. Okay, yeah. Now, what exactly is this thing that key I wanted to kind of like a something make a app, kind of like a something recorder app. Okay, yeah. Like basically the right now I'm kind of like in you have mobile phone has a audio recorder app. Oh yeah, so I wanted to kind of like make a recorder app. Okay, yeah, but instead of that, it worked as a social media. Example, like a have you like a Spotify, like a do you get it Spotify? Spotify is a kind of like a simply app that you could listen the music. Okay, yeah, same thing. Okay, yeah, recorder plus Spotify. I just wanted to merge that thing and make it as an artifact. What does it do? It just kind of like a something like a whatever like a basically is this thing the person who wanted to record the artifact, they just kind of like a simply after ate the dinner, they just kind of like a turn on recording and they just started talking about like a, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. Okay, yeah. Now what exactly happened that ki, when the after the recording done, it kind of like a you just put the name, title and things like that, and it went to the public. Okay, yeah, it went to the public. Public means like that ki kind of like a something YouTube. Okay, yeah. So so basically people will kind of like a something see your artifact and they would kind of like a something listen your artifact. Okay, one catch. Okay, what is that? Ki other people, they will not know who you are. Okay, yeah. And as also you will not gonna know who is kind of like some people who listen the artifact. Okay, yeah. I wanted to make kind of like a little bit privacy. And why? Okay, let me tell you one thing. While I was recording the artifact, I realized that I am talking about lot of stuff. Something myself, something with my friends, something my like lot of things. Okay, yeah. And basically when I'm trying to talk with myself, I'm kind of like somebody explore that thing. Okay, yeah. And it just like that na those kind of like a something very personal thing, like a very very personal thing. Okay, yeah. Like basically which person do I like the most and stuff and stuff and stuff like that. So it just like that, it's a very personal thing. Okay, yeah. And as also is this thing that ki I don't want to kind of like a somethingly record a, such a record kind like a record myself and talk about such thing and share with that world, because I am too much hesitate to put my name into it. Example is this thing, like you upload the video on YouTube platform and you just talk about that ki how much you kind of like something fall in love with some girl and some girl and some girl, and you are being really honest and you are talking about, you are taking straight the name like a regard, like a telling about this name and that girl that I like and things like that. Okay, yeah. While you are recording you feel really good, yeah, you feel definitely really good. But when you upload that video on a YouTube platform and people will listen and people will kind of like somebody realize that you just talk about that stuff, then your personal life will kind of get little bit of something really that key not so good. Okay, yeah, because people will realize that dude, he was like he was backstabbing and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that key, this is what actually happened is because of that key you are actually putting your image or putting your name to that particular video. Okay, yeah. In my app, privacy is kind of like something a top tier important thing. Means like that ki the person would record the artifact. Okay, yeah, they will not kind of like a somethingly show their name and things like that. Like they will kind of like a use another handle and things like that. They will gonna mention that ki something that ki Prozac 1943. Okay, yeah, like my name is Saurabh Authare, but I'm putting as a my name is a Prozac 1943. Okay, so this is my kind of like a simply artifact handle. Okay, yeah. So And in that particular thing, I am kind of like a somebody recording, and this is my artifact. All right, yeah. But this is not just one thing. Okay, there is also another problem too. What is the actual problem? While recording the artifact, I talk about multiple things. I talk about, like, I will gonna mention my name. I will gonna mention my people around me. I will gonna mention some sort of name. Okay, like where do I say and something like that, regarding about the story that I was kind of like somebody telling regarding about me and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. First of all, is that ki when I will make that particular app na, I have to make sure I have to kind of like a something telling the people that you shouldn't supposed to be tell your name or tell your kind of like a where you are or what you are, or kind like a tell like a do not kind of like a tell the name. Okay, yeah, like a noun. Okay, noun means like that your name, your societal name, your city name, your girlfriend name, your kind of like a name. Do not tell your name. Like a tell about kind of like a somebody, like I went with this girl or that girl or X kind of like a somebody girl or things like that. Okay, yeah. Like basically when you do that thing, you will kind of like express yourself very deeply, but you are not kind of like a somebody have a little bit of hesitation to put the name because of that key. It's just like you don't really mention the name. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna make sure that you shouldn't supposed to do that. You shouldn't supposed to be kind of like the person who record the artifact. They shouldn't supposed to be record any kind of like somebody name. Okay, yeah. But if they do that, if they kind of like did the record, if they kind of like did the record, if they did record some sort of name regarding about that stuff, because when we are talking, we are go with the flow and we mention some sort of name. Okay, yeah. And when we mention some sort of name, what exactly that I should supposed to do is that ki I have to take the kind of like a responsibility of their privacy. Okay, means like that people who kind of like record the artifact, they should supposed to be record very freely. Okay, yeah. So I have to be make sure that their privacy should supposed to be intact. So what I should supposed to do is that ki when they record the artifact, okay, yeah, my app will process that particular artifact. Okay, yeah. I don't know how do I supposed to do that thing, but like basically in the future I will gonna do. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, what will my app do is that ki my app will process the entire artifact. Okay, and kind of like a somebody AI will kind of like, I'm gonna implement the AI so that it would kind of like a figure it out what is actually the noun. Okay, I mean it's like that this and that and that, and it kind of like a somebody cut that particular audio part or cut that kind of like a put the beep and things with it. It will actually happen automatically, and like there is no kind of like a human intervention to kind of like do that thing. No, it's everything is actually happen on the cloud and everything. Okay, yeah. And after it went published, it kind of like a something telling that okay, this is kind of like a something noun that you kind of like a mention in the artifact. Okay, yeah. And we will kind of like a silent that thing. Okay, yeah. And then you are kind of like something comfortable with that thing, then it will went to the publish. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a something stuff happened. Okay, yeah. Now another question is that ki why does people will record the artifact? Okay, like why? Like you just make the app and things like that. Then why will kind of like some people will record the artifact? It's why? Okay, yeah. Why? It's really essential. Why is because of that ki okay, we are living in such a world where we could connect with the people so easily. Yeah, like if you wanted to talk, we have phone, we have WhatsApp, we have like a lot of messenger thing. There is nothing really at all. Yeah, it's just like we could connect with the people. It's like there are so many ways. Okay, yeah. But one of the important thing is that na ki even if we have all those things na, we won't be able to connect that thing. Why? Because we always have a little bit hesitation regarding about what should we supposed to say and what not should supposed to say. And as also is this thing right now, I kind of like realize that people don't really talk with each other as also. Why? Because right now is this thing, the only communication that actually happened with the people to people is text way. Okay, yeah. And text way is a kind of like a something silent and as also very short. Okay, yeah. And as also text way is not really that much reliable. Like what is actually stuff that I wanted to say, I won't be able to express in the text format. It's really not that good. Okay, yeah. So it is really essential to me to kind of like somebody talk. But another thing is that na ki probably we don't really have any kind of like somebody person so that we could talk. Example, okay, yeah. Like basically last time, like just ask this question to yourself that ki when did you last time you talk with kind of like some sort of person very deeply, like a deep kind of like a somebody communication is actually happened with which person and how, like sorry, when this actually happened. Okay, most probably like this kind of like a something deep kind of like a somebody communication is actually happened with your significant other or your wife or girlfriend or things like that. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay. And as also is this thing, when you have that particular person, or when that particular person is actually loving with you or things like that, only that time is actually happened. But still, it is also kind of like a simply have a little bit of limitation, things like that. Because let me tell you one thing now, I realized myself that key we don't really have any kind of like some people who understand the communication. What is that with the communication? Okay, communication means like that key, not just talking, listening to. Okay, yeah, listening to, like basically we all really require a kind of like only people who kind of like only listen what is actually my thoughts, what is this thing. And we don't really have that kind of like something person, like basically is this thing now, like you kind of like you realize that your girlfriend is start talking, and you don't really get the opportunity to talk to her because you just always listen. Okay, yeah, you just always listen. And basically because of this kind of like a dilemma in your entire life as a man, they don't really kind of like somebody express themselves with anyone. As also as a woman they express a lot regarding about like they found so many people, like basically the friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. Okay, but as a man they didn't really get kind of like somebody a opportunity to kind of like somebody express themselves. Okay, yeah. And as also another thing is that na ki listening. Okay, is this thing na ki usually is this thing communication actually happen when you listen. Okay, yeah, kind of like only give the opportunity to talk, but other people are not letting you to talk. And this is what kind of like something I realize in myself in my entire life. Oh yeah, artifact is kind of like a filling that particular gap. Like it is that. Okay, yeah, at the beginning it was too awkward literally when I started recording the artifact. It was kind of like a, something very awkward to me to talk regarding about myself, like how do I supposed to talk with myself. It's kind of so creepy and things like that. But within almost like it took me almost like a 3 months to kind of like a something familiarize with myself to talk. And right now I'm kind of like a talking with myself very purely and very kind of like a something practically and very kind of like a something that ki I don't really have a issue. Like I'm literally kind of like a something blunt regarding about what I'm trying to talk. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing when I try to talk, it felt really good. Like you asked me this question, na, ki why does people will gonna record the artifact or why? Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a something is this thing, na, ki it is experience. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like a something that na ki when you drive the Lamborghini and when you see the Lamborghini, like you don't really understand how much it kind of like feels good when you drive the Lamborghini. Okay, if you wanted to experience that moment, you have to actually drive the Lamborghini. Then you get particular that experiment. Then you get particular experience. This is what it is. Okay, yeah. Like basically, artifact is not only kind of like something. Is this thing that key you just kind of like something with that key. Like, you just kind of like feel that thing when you do that thing. You just feel that. Okay, yeah. Also another thing that ki why does people will gonna kind of like simply record the artifact. Okay, yeah, I also have kind of like something I mentioned this thing multiple times in artifact, but also let's talk about that ki why does people will gonna record the artifact is people have kind of like a simply mentality to kind of like a simply be part of the be part of the crowd. Okay, yeah, like they don't want to be kind of like a simply like a kind of like away from the community. Example, couple of days ago there is Instagram. Instagram is a kind of like some social app, social media app, and usually people are kind of like uploading photos regarding about stuff and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. In Instagram there is a trend happened, and in that trend people are actually kind of like somebody taking the photo and converting into Ghibli art form style studio. Okay, yeah. So what is actually Ghibli art form style studio? It's a kind of like somebody a cartoon style of photo generating thing. Means like that. Now YouTube, go to the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the AI. Go to ChatGPT, upload that photo and convert and type the prompt, convert this image into the Ghibli photo studio art, and it kind of like convert that particular photo into the animation things like that. It looks like a really good. Okay, yeah. Now this trend is actually booming, like literally booming. Everyone is actually putting their photo on Instagram that. And what the fuck? Like why does everyone is actually doing it that? Like basically it is because of that key we wanted to kind of like something part of the trend. Like basically everyone people are wanted to kind of like something showcase the evidence of the existence. Okay, what is the evidence of existence? Okay, yeah. Evidence of existence means like that ki like basically this thing na ki like I don't know how, like where this term came from, evidence of existence. I don't know, but what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. Like people have always kind of like a something wanted to kind of like a something like that ki showcase what are they special, like like they wanted to kind of like a something. I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. Okay, yeah, it's kind of like a things that na ki you went to trip. Okay, let's say example, you went to the Goa with your friend, you took the photo. Why are you uploading your Goa trip photo on your social media app? Because of that you also wanted to be kind of like a somebody say that thing ki I went to the Goa, I have kind of like a somebody really good life and things like that. So this is what it is. Miss social media is a kind of like a things that ki people are wanted to show the really good memories of their. Okay, and they wanted to showcase to the world. Okay, it's kind of like a somebody that ki people are, it's kind of like somebody that people are kind of like somebody wanted to go with the flow, kind of like somebody that ki they wanted to kind of be part of this moment or part of these people and things like that. Okay, yeah, when they do that stuff they feel really good. They feel that ki, yeah, I am kind of like a part of the elite people. Okay, yeah, what's the elite people? Now example is this thing. Okay, yeah, like as I mentioned earlier, like people are actually uploading their Ghibli style photo on Instagram at Instagram platform for the, it's a kind of a trend. Okay, yeah, so this is actually trend is actually happened, and people are actually putting the photos. Okay, yeah, and I also did that. Then I asked myself that ki, why did I did that? Is because of that ki I also wanted to be kind of like a somebody consider myself, or people should supposed to be consider myself that ki I am kind of like somebody giving the evidence of I am exist. Okay, yeah, I am the exist, like I have, like it's kind of like showing that I am exist. Like what is exactly this thing, like showing the evidence of existence. Okay, yeah, it like basically this thing na ki you are exist. How does people will know that ki you are exist? Okay, how does people will know that you are exist? Is because of that ki you are kind of like a something showing how kind of like somebody exist you are, like regarding about the showing the photo, taking video and things like that. Okay, yeah, uh, if the people who's not kind of like a showing the evidence of their existence does mean that ki they are ghost. Well, technically, yeah. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah, let me tell you one thing. Okay, wow. Okay, it's kind of like a something is this thing na ki I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. It's a kind of like a something na, it's a like basically this thing na ki, like if I'm doing this thing then everyone is actually doing this thing, then I also do the same thing too. Like basically this thing na ki our intelligence or our like things is actually developed because of the community. Okay, like basically from thousands of years ago we are actually living the community. Okay, yeah, and basically because of the community is actually influence our thought process. Okay, like basically like we have kind of like a something phrase regarding about you are the average of your surrounding. This is what exactly is this thing. Our surrounding is actually dictates our decision making process. Okay, yeah, so I think that na ki in artifact, if the one person actually talking about his a breakup story and things like that, and talk about stuff like that, and he upload that artifact in that particular my app like artifact, and when people will listen that particular thing, then they also kind of like realize that dude, I also went through breakup thing, like there is a lot of health situation that actually happened with me. I also been through the same thing too. And also is this thing when they also wanted to share that thing, they just have to press the record and they just have to share that thing. This is what it is now. This is when people will kind of like simply record that stuff. Like this is what kind of like some people will kind of like something that key something like that key they just love. Okay, yeah, so this is how people will gonna start record this thing. Okay, yeah, I know at the beginning it might kind of like some little bit kind of like something very kind of like a something awkward. Okay, because when you start with talking with yourself, it's a very awkward thing. Okay, yeah, but when you are used to with this thing now, you are kind of like something very pro. Okay, and you just kind of like something start talking and things like that. Okay, yeah, now you understand my business. Like basically it took me almost like how much time, almost like a 10-15 minute I'm just talking about my business and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like a business that I wanted to do. Okay, yeah, now let's talk about this thing. What is exactly my target audience? Okay, like who are those people will gonna talk in the artifact? Okay, yeah, that's the really good question. Okay, yeah, who are those people will gonna talk in artifacts? Because in the end, people will gonna listen. Okay, yeah, but in the end, my target audience is the people who could record the artifact. Okay, and who are those people? I think that key men and women both. Okay, yeah. And as also is this thing in this particular artifact, actually the teenager might be a kind of like a something people, like basically everyone does it now, like it's a kind of like a something unique way. Look, I don't know, like basically this kind of like things that I discovered, and I'm not really sure that he is this kind of like something very unique or not. I am not really sure what will gonna happen, but I think that now it's a kind of like it's only human thing. Everyone wanted to share their things and stuff like that. Artifact is actually giving them opportunity to talk. Okay, yeah. So basically, what is the target audience is that ki everyone, yeah. Instead of kids, okay, yeah, like kids are kind of like somebody express themselves with the parents and stuff like that. I'm saying that na ki since the age of 15 to rest of the lifetime, like a rest of the people who wanted to kind of like simply record, they are those people. Yeah, they are those people who wanted to record those things. Okay, because everyone wanted to talk, everyone wanted to talk and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now another thing is that ki uh like what is actually another thing, yeah, like my target audience is already decided, but what is actually the interest and things like that, how do you supposed to manage that thing, how do you supposed to kind of like a something control, like there are a lot of things will gonna happen. Yeah, like if you kind of like a create the particular kind of like a something app where people would kind of like a simply talk about stuff like that. Okay, yeah, and other people will might gonna listen and things like that. Okay, it's kind of like a simply podcast, right? Yeah, like people would talk and people will might gonna listen. Yeah, kind of like a simply podcast, but something very different, because podcast is individual. This is kind of like simply when kind of like a unibody is kind of like controlling the entire thing, and yeah, get it. Okay, yeah, but there is a one thing. Okay, yeah, people will gonna talk a lot. Okay, that is good, but people will gonna talk a shit too. What's a shit? A shit means like that they will gonna talk something really nonsense, something really that key not good, something really that key hate speeches or something like that key. How do you supposed to control that thing, how do you supposed to radicalize that particular situation? Okay, that is really good question. Okay, yeah. um I don't know how do I supposed to do that, but I will gonna do that. Lies, it kind of like a only detect the noun which is actually noun, and it kind of like a put the beep or kind of like a silence that particular thing. One thing. Another thing is that key when like when it analyzes the particular artifact. Okay, yeah, every word regarding about what kind of like a person would gonna talk, what kind of like some language, my AI will kind of like understand all the language. So it kind of like a kind of like a create the particular thing. Okay, yeah. Now at first, like basically example is this thing, I am kind of like a only particular guy who's actually recording about the sexual thing. Like basically I kind of like a telling my experience regarding about when I first time I had a sex. Okay, yeah. So I'm telling and this happened and that happened, all those things, it's a kind of like an audio porn. Okay, yeah. So at the beginning it's a kind of like a something sake of experience, because as a people, as a kind of like a something that key everyone wanted to talk about that particular thing, it's a sexual thing. But probably is this thing na ki I have to give a kind of like a particular strike or kind of like somebody giving that particular thing that ki it is kind of like a little bit of sexual thing. And I am like basically they would allow to public that artifact. Okay, yeah, but okay, yeah, okay, how would I supposed to regulate that thing? Yeah, how would I supposed to regulate that thing? It is really essential. Yeah, and now I understand how would I supposed to do that. Okay, yeah. Let's understand the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so what is actually YouTube algorithm? YouTube algorithm is kind of like only based on that key. What is actually the audience interaction? Okay, audience interaction means like that how many people like, how many people will watch that particular video, how many people will comment in that particular video. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, if the people who kind of like watching the entire video like the video and kind of like putting the comment after watching the video, it kind of like somebody giving the interaction almost like 100%. Okay, yeah. Now another thing is that another person kind of like watched the rest of the video, he liked the video but he didn't really comment. Now interaction is almost like a 70%. Now another person watched the entire video, okay, yeah, and that's it, he didn't like the video, so interaction is almost like a 50%. Okay, yeah. Now another person, he just watched almost like a 25% of like a half of the video he watched, and then after that he went away. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, the interaction is almost like a 30%. Okay, yeah. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, the audience interaction is matter. Okay, yeah. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, when as the audio, when the video get lot of interaction regarding about so many people, then that video will kind of like somebody recommend to the more and more people. Okay, yeah. And this is what exactly what is gonna happen in my artifact too. Okay, yeah. Like example is this thing, like the person who kind of like record everything regarding about the sexual activity and stuff and stuff and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. I also let that guy to upload that thing on my app, and it will went to the public and people will listen that thing too. Okay, yeah. But now there is a one thing is that if that person is really genuine, okay, yeah, people will understand. Let me it is understand, like basically when you are kind of like somebody listening to me, you kind of like somebody feel that ki I'm really genuine. Okay, yeah. Genuine means like that now, when people are really genuine, they are kind of like somebody wanted to talk with passion. Okay, yeah, they wanted to kind of like express themselves with very vividly and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. And it's just like that na ki I don't know how, like it's a kind of like a some human thing now. Like basically when the people are lie, we kind of like understand very quickly. Okay, yeah. And when the people are kind of like somebody just try to telling the passionately, it kind of like somebody resonate with that thing. Okay, yeah. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, that key when people will kind of like somebody listen that particular artifact. Okay, yeah. Instead of like based system, I kind of like put that star based system. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this thing? If the people will after listen the artifact, they kind of like put that 5 star, means like that ki this artifact will recommend to the more and more people. Okay, yeah. If they won't really kind of like give the star, they kind of like give the 5 out of 4 star, 3 star, depend upon the star. I'm giving about the recommendation, like how much it kind of like simply recommend to the more and more people. Okay, yeah. If that particular artifact will not gonna listen entirely up to the so many people, then probably it will kind of like recommend to the even less people. Okay, so this is what actually happened. But dude, yeah, this guy is actually talking about the sexual thing. Okay, like what he went through and stuff like that. I don't know, like people are really wanted to know, people are are kind of like simply go towards the sexual stuff. Okay, yeah. And basically if this guy is actually talking about the sexual stuff and stuff like that, then most of the people are kind of like simply wanted to watch the entire thing and might give you some sort of little bit star too. And in the end your system is kind of like a pushing this artifact to the recommend to the more and more people, because it kind of like a simply meant to that way. Okay, yeah. So basically is this saying that the person would kind of like simply record the sexual stuff, that artifact went viral, right? Yeah. So how do you supposed to stop this thing? Because in your system it won't gonna happen, even if kind of like how much people are talking about passionately and things like that, it will not gonna happen like that way, because in the end we are human and we wanted to know about what is actually sexual thing is actually happened. All right, yeah. So how? Okay, like a like based system, sorry, like a star based system, and this will not gonna work to kind of like simply, well, I have to put some sort of guideline then. Okay, like a YouTube does, like in the YouTube you won't be able to upload any kind of like simply nudity, so might be I'm gonna do that same thing. Okay, yeah. Like basically in artifact you shouldn't supposed to be kind of like somebody talk about the sexual stuff or explicit stuff. Okay, yeah. Something like that, like means basically is this thing that key like you shouldn't supposed to be used kind of like assembly vagina, penis and things like that. But dude, in our everyday conversation we actually use that word. Okay, we actually use that word, like who the fuck you are, who the kind of like assembly, your penis is kind of like assembly bigger than your hand. I don't know, yeah. But like these are kind of like assembly words that we are actually use multiple times in everyday life. Okay, yeah. So how do you supposed to differentiate that thing from sexual thing to everyday life stuff? Okay, yeah. My AI will does. Okay, yeah. How? Okay, so basically, is this thing ki my like entire artifact is actually kind of like something judged by the uh, artificial intelligence. Okay, yeah, and it kind of like something figure it out that ki this artifact is kind of like something showing so much explicit things. Okay, uh, showing or kind of like something mentioning so much explicit thing like a it kind of like something ChatGPT does na basically is this thing na right now ChatGPT what is at least this thing na ki like a ChatGPT is not actually promoting kind of like some sexual stuff. Like even if you talk how do you supposed to sex, it kind of like a filter out and kind of like a somebody the kind of like a somebody the average opinion regarding about how do you supposed to sex. You won't be able to kind of like a somebody like ChatGPT never actually create the kind of like a somebody word where it is vagina penis all together. It's not gonna happen. Okay, yeah, and as also as a ChatGPT has a kind of like a particular guideline that they shouldn't supposed to do that thing. They shouldn't supposed to promote that thing too. Okay, yeah, so I also do that same thing. Okay, I do have kind of like some my my app will kind of like somebody figure it out that key this person is actually talking about the sexual stuff though. Then I kind of like a giving that particular strike that ki this artifact contains the sexual stuff. Then it is not gonna good. I this artifact will not gonna went public. Okay, yeah. So this is stuff that I wanna do probably. I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of like a lot of things when gonna happen. Like when I make this particular app na, I have to figure it out a lot of things, dude. Like I know people will gonna record the artifact, but it's figure it out. It's kind of like they find out to me that how those people will record the artifact. Okay, yeah, because I have to utilize my experience to kind of like a something that keep I don't know, yeah. Like basically, I started this artifact for kind of like a something good things for happen to the people because it actually happened good things for me too. Okay, yeah, like I don't know. It like when I connect with myself, I understand myself. Who am I? What am I? What exactly is this thing? And something like that. I realize my purpose in my life and things like that because of this artifact. And this artifact is kind of like a something have that particular power to understand yourself and kind of like a connect with yourself. It kind of like a gives you kind of like a purpose of your life and things like that. Like basically, if you use this artifact for your kind of like something for good, it is kind of like a giving you kind of like something really good. But I don't know. Like I am not really sure that how many people are kind of like use this app for kind of like some really bad way. I have to figure it out that way. I have to figure it out, and I am kind of like a something figure it out that my app will not gonna promote any kind of like a something sexual or any kind of like some hate speeches or religious sentiment and things like that. Okay, yeah, because sexual stuff is okay, yeah, but what about the hate speeches or religious sentiment? What's the religious sentiment? A religious sentiment is like that there is a guy who's actually record the artifact regarding about the religious. He just talk about that ki like a Hindu Muslim is not really good. This is not really good. This religion is not really good, and something like that. It is kind of like a converted into hate speeches, and that is also not really that good too. Okay, yeah, and as also I am also kind of like a somebody figure it out that ki my artifact is not meant for kind of like a something. I don't know, dude. Yeah, how do I supposed to do that? Because it is lot of gonna thing happen. Like if this kind of like some hate speeches, then probably I should supposed to be figure it out that stuff too. Sexual stuff, I should supposed to figure it out that stuff too. Another thing is that key fake thing like a fake give the suggestion means like that key like if there is a guy who's actually record the artifact regarding about the financial advice. Okay, means like that in his artifact he was actually talking about the financial advice. He was talking about this and that and that. This also really not that good too because like let me tell you one thing, it will gonna come into the scam too because yeah. So how do I? I am not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure how would I supposed to figure it out that. Like I will, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe my app in my artifact there will be kind of like a something a regulatory body would kind of like a, because let me tell you one thing, there is no human will kind of like a something interpret that particular artifact and kind of like a figure it out which artifact is really good or not because it is equivalent to the impossible. Let me tell you one thing, when I record the artifact I usually talk about almost like a 30-40 minute. Right now it's been almost like a 49 minute I'm recording right now. Okay, yeah, and basically how many like basically how does people will kind of like listen the artifact and give the judgment that ki, this artifact is really good, this is not. Like I have to kind of like create a particular mechanism or kind of like simply a machine that it would kind of like listen the artifact, understand the artifact, figure it out that artifact is really good or not, good for the society or not, and then it will kind of like a went public. Probably. Okay, yeah. But also is this thing that ki, this is also kind of like a something like that, like every action comes with consequences. Okay, yeah. Like if I do this particular action na, it kind of like a comes with another consequences. What is another consequences? Example is this thing that ki, like basically sexual stuff. Okay, like basically the guy who's kind of like a somebody wanted to express the first time he had a sex. Okay, yeah. Like basically it's a really good thing, na? Like basically having a first time sex is really kind of like a stuff that you should supposed to be celebrate and probably record that. Like a dude, have you ever kind of like a do sex and have you record that stuff in your artifact? Like basically you are doing this thing for almost like a 10 year now. So like a dude, in this 10 year I haven't really done sex now. Fuck. If I haven't really done sex, how would I supposed to record things in artifact? And let me tell you one thing, I did record the sexual artifact. Fuck. I did record. Yeah, I did record. I am really like basically I don't know, but I did record. Yeah, and I'm literally kind of like something centrally is this thing that ki, why did I record? Okay, like how do you record? You haven't really done the sex. Then how do you supposed to record the artifact that you had done? No, it's not. It's a kind of like something. I'm assuming that ki if my girlfriend would be, then how would I supposed to do the physical sexual stuff? Then I record this thing, like I did record, and I'm do ashamed. But at that moment I did. But like basically you did that particular thing, then how do you supposed to control that people will not gonna record that thing? Okay, they will gonna record, they will gonna kind of record the sexual stuff and things like that. They will gonna to express that particular thing. Then what? uh how do you supposed to regulate that thing, dude? It's I don't know. I just don't know, dude. I figure it out. I like when I have that kind of some power or particular thing, then I might like basically I have to use the AI, artificial intelligence, to figure it out, that regulate that particular artifact, because there will be millions of artifacts will gonna record and things like that. And for that particular thing I have to use artificial intelligence to understand the artifact and figure it out that artifact is really good or not. Okay, yeah. I make a mistake. Yeah, I did record the sexual stuff. Yeah, I do honest with myself, but it's just like that, na ki I did it once. Okay, I record sexual stuff every single day. No, it's not. Like basically, I did it. Like basically, is this thing ki in my decade of experience, I did it once. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing in your entire life, you are kind of like a recording this thing at once. That then it might be okay. But if you are recording this thing every single day, and this might be kind of like a something really not that good, because it's not. Okay, yeah, it's not. Okay, yeah. So I have to be, and also another thing. Okay, yeah. Artifact is kind of like a something connect with myself a lot. It's kind of like something giving my reflection. It is kind of like something is this thing. Now it is actually connecting with me. Like basically the things that I am talking, it kind of like something represent my personality and things like that. Example. Okay, yeah. I'm talking about business, filmmaking and stuff like that, regarding about my life and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. It reflection my personality. Okay, yeah. Now example is this thing that there is a guy who is actually talking about the hate speeches, or kind of like a something like the like let's say hate speeches. Okay, yeah. And he would just talk about the hate and hate and hate and hate and hate. Okay, yeah. Now his personality is also become hateful too. Okay, yeah. Because like as I mentioned, like basically the things that I'm talking in artifact episode is actually reflecting on my personal life too. It's actually reflecting on, yeah. If the other person, like if there is guy who's actually recording the artifact and he was kind of like a hate about stuff, he was kind of like a hating, give the hate, like he was kind of like a mention that this is not dead, this is not good, this is also not good, this is also not good, this is also, like he was kind of like a somebody who have always have criticism and things like that. Then in that particular situation na, artifact is kind of like a something improving or increase the hate thing inside of his inside of his mind. And then probably he also reflect that thought process in his real life too. Okay, means like that in personal life too. Means like that he would kind of like somebody do lot of um, clashes with someone else. He would do a lot of jhagda with someone else, and that is not that good, because I realize myself that ki artifact is actually connecting with yourself a lot. Okay, yeah. And whatever the stuff that you are gonna say, it kind of like reflect on your personal life. Okay, yeah. So if there is person who is kind of like doing the hate speeches, then probably it is also not that good. It's true, because yeah, it will be, because it is that like basically like artifact is kind of like a something giving the opportunity to be something as good as possible as you can. It also kind of like a giving the opportunity to as bad as you want. So if there is a bad person and who is kind of like a somebody recording the artifact and giving the hate speeches or giving the sexual stuff, yeah, it is something that happened. Yeah, so how would I supposed to control that thing? I don't know. But I kind of like there is a one thing good thing happened that ki I realized this mistake. I realized this consequences will gonna happen. So I have to figure it out. I have to figure it out that ki this is gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know, but I shouldn't supposed to be appreciate the sexual stuff. I shouldn't supposed to be appreciate or recommend to hate speeches, religious, sentimental, or there are a lot of things. Okay, yeah, politics and political stuff. I don't know, but I have to be control that thing. I have to figure it out that how do I supposed to control this, that people will not gonna misuse the artifact. Okay, yeah. At least I shouldn't supposed to be responsible for the people who kind of like a destruction for their life. Okay, yeah. So I have to figure it out that I don't know how, but I have to be. But dude, what is actually your question? Your question was that who is actually your target audience? Oh my god. Uh, I've been talking for almost like a 56 minute. I don't know, like when I record the artifact and when there is kind of like a something very good topic to talk, I just talk. Whatever. So as I mentioned, my regarding about content creation, my target audience is at the age of 24 to 35 to yeah. And regarding about business means artifact, there might be like a lot of people. Yeah. Target audience. Yeah. However, this is it. I should supposed to be India. And thank you.